Hello, welcome back to my Let's Play Thaumcraft 2015 series. So in this episode, I'd like to work on getting rid of the essentia tubing network for essentia distillation. And we can replace it with a golem using an alchemy core. So that's what I want to work on right now. The tubing is fine, but it's a bit annoying to have to open and close the valves and watch out for conflicts. It would just be a lot easier if we could use a golem to automate this for us. And of course, we can. So if we open the Thaumcraft to the Golemancy tab, next to the decanting core, you'll see the alchemy core. The alchemy core requires a decanting core. It's a prerequisite research, and we even need one in our infusion crafting we're going to use. So the decanting core is the item we're going to put on the center pedestal. It needs 3 water bottles and a water jar, 15 precontatio, 15 modus, and 15 aqua. I've already set up all of the prep work. I've got aqua, precontatio, and modus all set up. I've got the items set up opposed from each other, just like it's supposed to be. So everything should be going fine. I've got a backup water jar and backup water bottles. The instability is not negligible for this one. It's minor, but I'm not anticipating any problems with this right now. So let's see how it goes. Alright. I see it pulling in precontatio and aqua, so that's close enough now. That's good to know. And the modus is going in there. Let me see if I can see the water bottle on the other side. I can, so that's good. Taking up the water jar, it looks like. And the water bottles. 1, 2, and 3. Alright. Perfect. That went great. So, let me scan this golem core real quick. Alright. So, the alchemy core is basically going to let us attach a golem to the alchemical furnace, and it will empty whatever's in the alembics into these jars. And it will completely allow us to remove all of the tubing. We can even place jars in different locations. I believe we can place them here and up here on the wall, and he should be able to walk on top of the jars and place things atop them. Not 100% sure about that. I usually use rows of 2, but we'll see how it goes. There are, I want to say, maybe 60 possible aspects we might be able to distilling, so I'd like to have 60 warded jars, and I'd like to have them in a way I can find them when I need to, so I'll probably do that at some point, but we'll see. So, I'm not going to use a straw golem this time, though. So, straw golems can only take a single upgrade, and straw golems can only carry one thing at a time, which means if there were 8 essentia in this tube, or enough to fill a file, he would go 1 at a time. That's going to make him very inefficient if he has to walk back and forth very far. So the only advantage these straw golems have is they're the fastest natural golem. So we're going to make a different kind of golem. I've gone down and got the research for all of the basic tier 1 golems: wooden, clay, stone, and iron, and a tier 2 golem, the tallow golem. Now these are all purchased research. You can just purchase them right down the line. And the tallow golem was a research table we had to do. So the tallow golems are clay golems, basically. They let us have a carry limit of 8, so he'll take 8 essentia at a time. They've got average speed, so not the greatest, but should be okay. Now, the better reason to use the tallow golem, though, is that we're going to have 2 upgrades. So, besides the farm, we haven't really talked much about upgrades. But we're going to use 2 upgrades on this golem. An air upgrade, which is going to make him faster, and a water upgrade, which will make him more perceptive. In other words, he'll have a better range. Now, by default, I think they have either a 16 or... I want to say 16 block range. So, it should double that to 32 in how far along he'll see the jars. I don't remember what the cutoff is. I haven't tested it in a while, but I'd like to have it go as far as possible. So we want to make those 2 upgrades. And of course, I neglected to get the materials we would need to use that. So let me go get that real quick. We're going to need a water shard for the water upgrade and an air shard for the air upgrade. And I believe it's just gold nuggets around them. Yep, so I need, let's see, 8 of those, or 16. Got 8 right now. That'll put me at 17. Nope, not there. Make sure I've got a gold nugget left in there to put that back when I'm done with it. So let's go over to the arcane work table. Put my wand back in there. Yep, I wanted to make sure I'm wearing my Thaumcraft armor, and I am. Order upgrade. Air upgrade, perfect. Get my wand back. I never made any of these, so I want to scan them real quick. Alright, so there's my upgrades and my core. All that's left now is to make the actual golem. So in the Thaumonomicon, on Golemancy, tallow golems require a tallow block, which is 9 pieces of magic tallow. Throw that in a crucible with 8 Humanus, 8 Modus, and 8 Spiritus, not 4 like it was when we're doing straw golems. It should be 4 for all the tier 1 golems and 8 for all the tier 2. Not 100% sure about that, though. Might be not quite right, but I guess we'll find out later on. So, I should have enough tallow to get me one of those blocks. It's not an arcane work table. I'm just using that as a crafting table right now. So we'll scan that. And I already have Modus, Spiritus, and Humanus, 8 of each. Let me put those down on my hotbar. Alright, going over to my crucible. Humanus, Spiritus, Modus, tallow block. There we go. A tallow golem. Scan him real quick. Alright, so we're going to attach him to this alchemical furnace. There we go, he's on there. Going to give him his air upgrade, his water upgrade, and his decanting, his alchemy core upgrade. I neglected to get the Golemaster's bell too. Let me grab that real quick. We need to mark the jars, and we don't have to mark every one of these jars. We only have to mark the first one. He is perceptive enough to run down the line and add things to jars further along the way. So let's see here. Let's say I wanted some more Praecontatio. So let's go grab some netherwort and see how well he performs. Netherwort is in here, and I don't have any alimentum, but we'll just use some coal. Actually, do I have alimentum? I think I have one piece. Yeah, I do. Okay. I haven't shown you using coal in the furnace. I think I will, just to show you it's a lot slower to use coal in the furnace to distill aspects than it is to use anything else. So they often end up building up in here, but you can see he runs along the path and puts stuff in there. So he's filling up this jar with herba. It was the first empty jar he found. There was no marked herba jar, so he put it there. Now, had there been a labeled herba jar somewhere down the line, he would have gone there first. Now, there are lots of rules about that, about how void jars and how jars are prioritized. I guess I'll ignore void jars, so we haven't talked about it, but you can see he can carry more than one at a time. Let's see what he gets next. Took all 5 of that. He could take 8 if he wanted, so if this is empty next time, he'll come back. But as you can see, we're very slow. We are backlogged right now using coal. Alimentum, you're much less likely to see a backlog, which is why alimentum is a better thing to use in your alchemical furnace. But if you just got some coal, you've just got some coal, and that's what you have to use. Although, Alimentum is not a very difficult recipe. Coal and cobblestone, and you can get more of that. So generally, I just make alimentum. I don't like to waste fuel if I don't have to, but it's not too hard to make alimentum to make sure you can process. And I didn't even get through that whole stack before the coal ran out because it backlogged. If it hadn't backlogged, we would have been able to get through that entire stack. But that's okay. We're pretty close. So let's see. Alright, now this is interesting. He's got Praecontatio, but nowhere to put it. He's got a labeled jar. He will not go to these unlabeled jars over here. Actually, I'm sorry, that's not true. He cannot see that jar. He can see all the jars that are touching, but this gap here means this jar is not touched. Give him a new place to go, and he'll fill up these jars as well. So there we go. That's what happened to him there. He should be able to fill this entire warded jar here because we didn't get a full stack of other wards. So it should be 2 shy of a full jar. So, yeah. His speed's not great. It'll be better when I put some jars above here, I think. But we'll see how well this goes. And we can always take some of this out and pull it back. Now, that is one thing the piping is good for. I won't be able to pull this jar of Praecontatio into this one without the pipes. And I don't believe he'll move it on his own. So, maybe I don't like that quite as well, but it's not too hard to move things back and forth, which we'll end up doing eventually. Alright, let me go see what else I want to do in this video. I'll be back in a flash. Alright, so I would like to make some steel to get Ordo Essentia. I forget what I need it for, but I know it will be important for some of the infusion crafting I want to do later on down the line. So I want to have a supply of that. Now, you can get steel from Railcraft, but it's a very slow process. And I noticed in the NEI that you can cast steel from the smeltery and it becomes refined iron. So I'm hoping refined iron and steel are equivalent. So I know we can make steel with thermal expansion. Sorry, not steel, refined iron. And I'm hoping there's an equivalence between refined iron and steel that I can use to get Ordo Essentia faster than I could with Railcraft. So we're going to find out. So I'm going to make a machine called an Induction Smelter. This is a thermal expansion machine which combines alloys together or combines 2 things to make one. So it's used in making hardened glass that we can use for see-through piping, and there are several other uses for it as well in thermal expansion. So we'll need this either way, but I'm hoping the refined iron will be useful for me sooner than that. So the Induction Smelter requires Invar gears. Need 2 of those. Need a couple more pieces of Invar. Need a basic machine frame. Need a bucket. And need a redstone reception coil. Alright, that looks good. Check to make sure I've scanned all that stuff. There we go. And I have misplaced my thermometer again. Keep putting it up prematurely. Alright, there we go. Induction smelter. So we're going to set it right down over here. Let's see here. What do I want to do with this? I want this impulse item duct to go back here. We'll put one over here. Then I've made some more hardened flux ducts. There we go. And I'll put the induction smelter there. And it is charging up, so there we go. That's good to know. So, how do we get refined iron? We can use the induction smelter to smelt up iron and coal dust, or pulverized iron and coal dust. Interesting, you only need half as much for ingots as you do for dust. There should be an equivalence there. That's odd that there isn't. So I guess we'll use iron ingots. So first we need some pulverized coal. And I want to make sure I get pulverized coal because I'm afraid that the unifier will turn it into coal dust from IC2. And I think I don't want that, although I can't remember why. So let's go over here to get some of that. We'll just put some of this coal in here. This machine runs kind of slow. I guess I might want to improve that. Let's see if the unifier does turn it into the different kind of coal. It does. Puts it into coal dust. I think that would be fine. I won't worry about it for now. So, if we had 2 coal dust, we could combine that with iron to get refined iron. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, and 6. This could use a speed upgrade too. So I might be turning this into a hardened machine soon. There we go. Refined iron from IC2. It does have ordo on it. Perfect. Just what I wanted. Metal and ordo. So yes, refined iron is a different kind of steel I can use, and that's a much simpler recipe to get steel than going through railcraft. I might use railcraft anyway, but not right now. But looking in the Thaumcraft, there just aren't that many things that give ordo essentia. If you know of one, I would love to know what you use for ordo, because there are some railcraft things that are helpful for that, but I don't really do railcraft, so. And aside from that, the only metal I can find is lead. So let's see here. That leaves for vanilla ordo shards. That's kind of it. So yeah, it would be very hard to get if you were just playing vanilla and Thaumcraft. Lead gets it, but lead's pretty rare. Steel or refined iron is a much more accessible choice. I found some railcraft stuff in some of the villages that had some kind of rail, some kind of metal rail that wasn't put together but had ordo in it, and that was useful, but I melted that down already, and I don't plan to make any more of it, so. Alright, so that's the induction smelter. We can also use it to make pulverized glass, and I might do that at some point. In fact, it's a certainty. But that's good for now. Let me check time. I'll be right back. Alright, I think we have time for one more quick thing. I'd like to make a trading post from extra utilities to see what kind of goods the villagers have. So we're going to need a block of emerald. Scan that real quick. We need to make a jukebox, so a diamond and some planks. And finally, we can make the trading post. Okay, what the trading post does is make it easier to find out what your villagers have on them. It's very easy to go through the various trades in the village and find out what you can do. So, I'm just going to stick that somewhere. Where's a good place for this? You know what? Maybe I'll stick it. I don't want them climbing on it. Can it go on the roof? Alright, I'm going to put it right here. Alright. So you can see here are all the trades of the villagers. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 villagers maybe, or 15 trades possibly, I'm not really sure. So I could get books for emeralds, or raw chicken for emeralds, emeralds for pork chops, and note blocks. So, a PCB blueprint, don't know what mod that's from. A cooked, 9 cooked fish for an emerald, that's not terrible. So I'm not seeing any villagers that I like right now. So I'm wondering if I need to get rid of these villagers and start again. I had a mistake earlier on. I didn't even see that trade, the crowbar. Hope I missed that. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Alright, so I had a mistake earlier where I didn't put down these torches here, and a zombie got in the house. It just spawned there and murdered a bunch of villagers. They repopulated, but, you know, it's not great that my villagers got killed by monsters when they were supposed to be under my protection here. So, I fixed that, but I see that I've lost my Thaumcraft villagers, and I don't have any Mistcraft villagers, so I definitely want to remedy that situation as soon as possible. So I will probably gather up the villagers and melt them down for emeralds in my smeltery. So maybe I'll show you that in the next episode. Catch you next time.